We're back again. Maybe for some more torture. Who really knows this time round? I am delighted to be joined by Dan and Sam, who are going to once again try and lift our spirits.
Are we?
No.
Nobody told me that.
No. Sam's going to do that. Us two, however, not so much.
Yeah.
We are here because Liverpool sadly play another game of football. I know it is depressing. It really is. Liverpool play PSV this time in the Champions League. We are all hoping that a different competition, Sam, means a different attitude, a different outlook. Hopefully, a different outcome in the game.
We can dream, can't we? And you know what? This season, it has been the case to some extent that the Champions League has been some relief. It's 3 wins now and 4, which is far better than our league form. And, you know, at the start of the season, if you ask Slot and the players, I think they'd say they'd have preferred to win the Champions League. Now, that's not an excuse for losing, 8 out of 11 games in all competitions. But Carragher said recently as well that he was speaking to Arne Slot on holiday and he thought he was slightly obsessed with winning the Champions League and looking at what PSG did last year and maybe hoping to copy that in a sense. So that's what I'm kind of hanging my hopes on. Might be slightly optimistic, but we can dream.
We can dream, Dan. I'm not going to lie. He's going to have to do really good in this Champions League because it looks like, you know, a battle for top 4 is really on, and there's sadly about a clutch of 6 teams going for that top 4.
Yeah, and a lot of them just so happen to be in the Champions League already as well. So it's going to make winning this competition, you know, very, very difficult if it wasn't already, because we can't domestically get our act together at all, can we? Let's be honest. And it is, you know, somewhat fanciful to suggest that a team that's lost 6 out of 7 in the Premier League could go and do something mad in Europe. But you never know. You know, we do have a love affair and somewhat of an affinity with this competition. It has provided a little bit of blessed relief so far this season at times. So, yeah, listen, I'm as optimistic as ever. You know, all the old cliches when it comes to Liverpool and this cup and, you know, European nights at Anfield under the lights, all that sort of stuff still rings true. And whilst, you know, still sort of licking me wounds a little bit from Saturday afternoon, come this time tomorrow, I'll be bang up for tomorrow night and I'll be anticipating and expecting a response and a reaction from Liverpool, and maybe they do see the Champions League as priority number 1. Now that might have been the case 4 months ago. It might have been forced upon them by matters in the Premier League, meaning that the league is now a pipe dream, if not completely off the table. So yeah, I feel like this has to be, you know, where we turn our attentions to, probably much earlier than we might have liked. As you touched upon there, Chloe, top 4 feels, you know, difficult right now because there's so many teams going for it. Our domestic form doesn't lend itself to it. But, you know, this is also somewhere in the realms of must-win territory because if you look at the Champions League now, we are 8th, I think I might say, literally. So we're on the precipice of, you know, needing playoff games or not. And the last thing Liverpool need right now, and we need right now, the fan base, is more games. So, yeah, it's a must-win for lots of reasons. The league and just, you know, confidence levels, I think. Yeah.
I mean, Andy's clearly looking forward to it. He says, can't get excited for any Liverpool game in our defence. Is that shocking?
Can't disagree with any of that.
I hope you have a lovely day tomorrow, Andy.
Yeah. Listen, we are in the doldrums right now. Let's have it right. Let's get it out of the way. However, you know, this is a funny old competition and it's a funny old football club. And I've lived through seasons where, you know, domestically we have struggled and sort of scraped ourselves around, but yet still gone on to do something remarkable in Europe. So you just never know.
You never know. Phil has asked, are you releasing a sad Liverpool fan Christmas jumper this year? What I can tell you is, I mean, it's half sad because, I mean, I wear the Federico Chiesa one all the time, really.
And it's sad
because it literally is the only time you get to see him. So yeah, we've got quite a few, and I'd like to say the good, but obviously it's a really hard sell when the Reds are crap. So the sad is really because Liverpool are crap. But the FedEx one is also sad because we never get to see Chiesa, and it is a must stop, to be fair. Anyway, let's look at PSV. They are top of the Eredivisie, 11 wins, 1 loss in that. However, the UCL 18th, everyone's going to hate me for saying that. Sorry.
I did.
Sorry, Champions League. Come from? It's just, I can't, it's Champions League is so long.
It surprised me, though.
UCL, The 18th on 5 points, 1 win, 2 draws, 1 loss. That loss came at home to Club Brugge. However, they are at the moment on an 11-game unbeaten run. What are you expecting from them?
It's difficult to know because, as you say, the Champions League form, UCL Champions League form has been strange this season. They've beaten Napoli 6-2, had 2 draws, and then was it Club Brugge or Union SG?
It was Union SG, sorry. That's
2 Belgian clubs.
Well done. Both Belgium.
Lost to Union SG in their opening game, so it's been a while since that. And is it me, or when we play these Champions League games, are they always the opposition in great form? There's always been some kind of unbeaten run that we have to come up against. But I'm expecting a team that their strongest kind of area is on the wings by the looks of it. They've got a man called Mann playing right wing.
Dennis Mann.
Dennis Mann, who seems to be quite a good player. They've got Perisic is still knocking about, putting good crosses in off the left. And Gus Till up front is hoping to go to the World Cup next season. He's their top scorer. I don't claim to have watched him, but if he's a top scorer and maybe going to the World Cup with Holland, he must be half decent.
They're scrambling around for a striker, Holland, I would say. But having said that, they're top of the VC, he is the top goal scorer. And they've got Ricardo Pepi as well.
They've got Pepi, who's been on the bench lately, but I think he's slightly more versatile than Till.
Yeah, well, we saw PSV firsthand, didn't we? Less than 12 months ago, wasn't it?
These weren't that great for... I'm pretty sure we had Robert centre-half, did we not?
We did, we had a much-changed team. In the night, Marvin Nallo came on, Jaden Dan started.
McConnell started.
McConnell was really good on the night, actually. I know Arne Slot spoke glowingly about he's actually obviously in Holland now. He's at Ajax, isn't he?
But he's not really getting a look, is
No, he struggled. But yeah, by the way, so we'll know, we'll have a decent recent recollection and sort of an opposition analysis on what they're all about. Obviously, they've changed somewhat since then, as have we, dramatically so, I think it's fair to say. But we will, again, have recent experience of what they might have to throw at us. Yeah,
the one thing they do have, Dan, which you've mentioned it quite a lot, is confidence. 11 games unbeaten. And for me, I think the most vital part of this is Liverpool do not concede first. They take we saw on the weekend, they had 30 minutes of an alright period. As soon as they went 1-0 down, they completely collapsed. Mentally, it was like they were lost on the football pitch. It is so vital that Liverpool in this game take their chances, but also stay resilient. You've got to have a stable foundation.
Yeah, well, without a shadow of a doubt, and have a little bit of pride in what we're trying to do. We saw it the weekend, as you alluded to there. We just stopped tracking runners, stopped really caring about defending, like the absolute fundamentals, the basics of what it takes to earn the right to win a game of football or even be in a game of football, just completely evaporated once we went 1-0 down. So you're right, the first goal is crucial, and you're also right to reference the fact that PSV will come absolutely full of confidence. You touched upon the unbeaten run, top of the league, like winning games, scoring goals. The one thing we lack right now is that. We are brittle right now, it's fair to say. Psychologically, they will come with the upper hand. They'll come smelling a little bit of blood as well, in terms of knowing they haven't got anything to lose, but obviously points will be massively helpful for them in terms of so they will probably take a top 24 finish, I think it's fair to say, with all due respect to them. So a win or even a point away from home will be a massive step towards that. So they'll come and see it as we're going to Anfield, massive occasion. We've given a bloody nose, albeit a much changed Liverpool side. Come and have a go, because if they do get the upper hand and they do go ahead, they've seen how we respond to that, and it's not very well. And as I say, they will come absolutely backing themselves to the hilt, because the domestic form's taking care of itself right now. Champions League is somewhat of a bonus. Why not see what they can get off the night?
The thing for PSV is that you look at their fixtures in the Champions League, and they've actually had, I don't want to say their easiest games because they had the likes of Napoli in, but they did batter them. They've got Liverpool away. They've then got Atletico Madrid at home, Newcastle away, and Bayern Munich at home. Really, PSV are going to have to go into this game and go, we've got to bring something out of it, because they can't rely on beating Atletico Madrid. Newcastle away is such a hard place to go, and Bayern are absolutely storming it. So out of all of those teams, Liverpool are the weakest ones. Liverpool are the ones where they probably look at it and go, they're the lowest on confidence. We have to get in their faces. And the way to win this game is, look, it's to bully us physically. I'm not sure whether they can do that, but they'll feel like they need something out of this game.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of change at PSV over the summer. They're still the same manager, but they haven't got players like Luke de Jong that were there last season. And I think if you go,
go.
Bakayoko's not there
Yeah,
anymore. He's not
left,
playing
Where
anyway.
did he go though? Because he was the young lad that everyone like wanted.
Into the ether somewhere.
Okay, thank
Where
you.
did Johan Bakayoko
I'm going to
go?
have to look because I wanted him. I
I've
think
got Italy in my mind, and forgive me if I'm...
you can carry on talking, Sam. I'll tell
I was
you.
just going to kind of refer
Yeah,
back
you've
to
got
last
that, yeah.
season.
Leipzig.
Yeah.
Forget the Italy thing.
But I don't know how we
No,
went
I
from
went from
Italy
Italy, and then
to...
all of a sudden it just clicked in my head that he'd gone to Leipzig.
Similar colours, aren't they?
Well...
No, I mean Leipzig.
but Leipzig and
PSV.
PSV, yeah, that is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was just going to refer back to last season and say, well, as much as PSV will back themselves, might there be a slight want for a little bit of revenge from Liverpool? They started well last season in the first half away at PSV and kind of tired towards the end. I remember Jadon Dan sprinting around for 60 minutes and then looking absolutely knackered afterwards. And by the end, PSV were showboating, if you remember. And they celebrated not to be the celebration police, but by the end of the game, they were celebrating like they'd won the Champions League. And the manager wasn't too happy with them either afterwards, showboating. So maybe there's a little bit of a point for Liverpool there to get one back on them. And Gakpo's old club as well.
Yeah.
Now, whether Gakpo should play or not, we'll probably come on to. But that might be I'm really clutching at straws now, but...
Right. I mean, I do this usually. I'm just going to give you a couple of stats before we get onto the Liverpool part. The visitors have only lost 3 of their last 17 Champions League group stage, last league phase games. They've won 7 and drawn 7, so they're not easy to beat. They manage to hang in games, and they're really quite tough to beat. The clubs have met 7 times previously, all in the Champions League. Liverpool have won 5 of them. PSV obviously prevailed last season with a 3-2 win. However, where and when was their first meeting?
Where?
Well, it's got to be the Anfield or...
Yeah.
Come on, I helped you out with a little 50-50.
Okay. Well, let's go.
We'll go to a break whilst just think of
Okay,
this.
right, yeah,
if you all want to research it, you can't. I'm really not that bothered. We'll get onto the Liverpool side just after this.
Hey everyone, it's November, and at the end of the month, one of our wonderful Red Men Plus Legend subscribers will be winning these. Yes, they are a pair of goalkeeper gloves, and they are signed by former Reds goalkeeper Bruce Grobler. He won league titles, he won FA Cups, he even won the European Cup as well. And yet at the end of November, one of you lucky Red Men legends will get these goalkeeper gloves. So yeah, head on over to redmenplus.com, join us as a Legend subscriber, and if you do that, at the end of the month, you'll be in the draw, and this pair of wonderful goalkeeper gloves could be on their way to you.
Okay, well back here, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm hearing some rumours over here that I'm a little bit lost with. This was a stat on Liverpool's website, so I'm gonna say if I'm wrong, Liverpool are also wrong. When was their first meeting?
Well, I remember a few of them, obviously. And the one that sprung to mind, we played them in 06, but it kind of has to be before that.
That was my thinking
we won them
as well.
7 times in that short period. I don't think. We don't play them like every other year. So I'm going to go, I don't know, a year before, like a numerous years before that, like the 80s, maybe.
Wow.
I think you said it's the Champions League era
Yeah.
in your voice.
Yeah.
So
You're reiterating Champions League as opposed to European Cup.
I did,
Okay.
I'm
02.
gonna go with 02 as well.
Yeah, it was 2006, and we were against them.
We played them 7 times in that. I remember that game, but I can't believe we met them so often.
The
hard
clubs
to
have
believe
met
that.
7 times, all in the Champions League. Liverpool have won 5 of them. Their first meeting in 2006
Anfield.
was drawn. No,
was it there?
we were both
Was
at
there?
well, I don't know whether it's changed from the Phillips now,
Phillips is a sponsor,
but
so it must have been
Yeah.
a different
PSV,
stadium,
it was
isn't it?
both in,
Okay.
Holland. Anyway, yeah, that was hard. But to be fair, you had it,
Well, I did
you really
have it,
did
but
have
I
it.
find it. I struggle. Well, I don't struggle to believe it because I believe you.
Well,
But
no.
I'm surprised-
Believe LFC's website,
I'm
not me.
surprised we met them so often since,
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, it's 19 years, I guess, but 7 times, yeah, that must have.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember hardly any of them. aside
Maybe there
from
was a
last year.
COVID one or something that we've all forgotten.
Yeah,
I'm not
perhaps.
sure.
We played
Maybe.
Ajax, didn't we, in the
Yeah.
Cup? I remember
Yeah, we
playing them
did.
because Curtis Jones scored when Onana kind of let it go over
Yeah.
him off Nico Williams'
That
cross.
was one of Curtis
Facts.
Jones' best performances.
Was
for
really
Liverpool,
good on the
that.
night,
Yeah.
yeah. But still, obviously, we have met them that frequently,
Yeah.
just somewhat
apparently.
Surprised by
So,
it, yeah. Okay.
anyway, we are doing this before the press conference, which is later on today. So I don't have an update on Florian Wirtz, but I would be shocked if he made the squad for this one. I've got another little stat for you. We all love these. Arne Slot will take charge of a team against PSV for the 11th time in his career, the most he has faced in for a single club. Arne Slot has suffered more defeats against PSV than any other side in his managerial career as well.
That's
so,
good,
you know,
yeah.
they go hand in hand, really, those two, don't they? Let's get on to Liverpool then. Do the fundamentals better? That's where I'm going to start, Sam. What do you think?
Yeah, I want to see a bit of fight from Liverpool because it felt like it's not just one individual, but Canate in particular at the weekend. It's like one small thing goes wrong and everyone collapses. Yeah. And I can't get my head around that, how at home we've gone from being this team last season who came from behind, who were so good even at the start of the season, our mentality to stay in games, we might not have been playing that well, was excellent. And now it just feels like there's absolutely no belief in the team. I mean, there was one moment where Gakpo pulled out of a tackle. I think we were
there was two times that I can remember, and
two
honestly,
times.
the second time I wanted
and,
to
I mean,
absolutely.
When you're down in the doldrums, that's just going to make the mood around the ground even worse. So I want to see a bit of fight from Liverpool, as basic as that sounds. And then, you know, with that, then comes confidence, because it's the oldest cliche in the book, but if you win your battles, then everything comes after.
Yeah, it'd be nice if Liverpool could take the chances up the other end of the pitch as well. Maybe if you manage to take one of those chances and you go 1-0 up, there's not as much panic stations defensively. I'm not sure. All I know is Liverpool at times can play all right, but when the going gets tough and something goes against them, they have no positive reaction at all. They just completely and utterly lose themselves on the football pitch and they feel sorry for themselves, and that's an attitude you just can't have.
No, not at all. No, certainly not. You know, against top tier football teams that will find ways to hurt you and have got quality throughout, whatever you think of them, and this is another one of them. And it's, again, as we referenced in the first part of the show, one that's full of confidence and probably one that is looking at this as needing to get something out of it in terms of the fixtures they've got coming up and their own European aspirations, which of course will be to get out of this massive group phase. So yeah, Liverpool have got to start well, and I think actually it's doubly important that we do, not just because of all the confidence stuff that we mentioned and psychologically just how fragile we are right now and what might conceding first do to us, and will we just see the same again? But I think actually in terms of Anfield, whilst Anfield can be a force tomorrow night, it can also go the other way a little bit. And I think if we do start to see the same things and we're not putting a shift in, we're not winning our battles, and God forbid we do go 1-0 down, all of a sudden, because you referenced yesterday how Anfield started to turn a little bit on the weekend, all of a sudden fast forward 3 or 4 days and you're losing what would be looked upon as a very winnable Champions League night, then you are starting to think, what is going wrong here? Like, and can this manager fix it, to bring him into the conversation as well? So it's massively important that we start the game in a promising manner and that we do ideally go 1-0 up. But to reference Sam again, like defending and bringing back the pride in defending is absolutely essential, because that's what we see in abundance. And not creating enough clear-cut chances and not taking them when we did is one thing. But actually, I think Saturday was just more the fact that Forest wanted to keep a clean sheet and Forest wanted to defend, whereas at the other end of the pitch, we didn't really.
Yeah, and we certainly didn't keep a clean sheet either. No. I think it's such an important game for Arne Slot, because there's a lot of games you're expected to win as Liverpool manager. You've got to earn the right to win those games, let's put it out there. However, this will be a game where people would have expected him to beat Nottingham Forest at the weekend. People will expect him to beat West Ham, and we'll be expected to go on a run. This was supposed to be a favourable period with fixtures for Liverpool. The hard fixtures were out of the way, and I think we did have a tough start. But now is the time where Liverpool have to pick up points. There is no excuses now. They have to. They are in damage limitations right now. And PSV is a must-win game because everyone sees it as a must-win game anyway. Then when you're struggling to buy a win, a game at home at Anfield under the lights against PSV, Liverpool have no other choice but to actually put out a decent performance and win. I just don't know. I don't know whether I see it happening. I think we have more of a chance, but I see this Liverpool side take the pitch, and I just don't know what to expect from them, Sam.
And that's been the big problem. I think one of the things you could hang your hat on the Klopp, apart from during the coronavirus season, was that at home, even if we weren't doing well away from home, Anfield was always a fortress. Mm-hmm. And if you start to lose that, which we've lost against Man United now at home, we've lost against Forest at home, if you start to lose that, then you start to... and you lose the home crowd. What have you got? Exactly, they're the right words for it, because that's something you could always rely on Liverpool as well. Even in the past when Liverpool weren't doing very well, we'd always turn up against the big teams, or we'd turn up when you think we needed a result. And if you can't hang your hat on that, there's also this element of the Champions League. I mean, there's obviously the FA Cup to come into things at the second half of the season, but the Champions League being our almost last resort. And if your results start to go there, then do the players not? I think they deliberately do it, but do they start down in tools slightly and thinking, well, what have we got to play for now?
Yep, it is a tough place, considering this feels like one of the ways to get top four. Actually,
yeah, absolutely,
it's absolutely mad that,
and to
that
make
you
it a
look at
successful
that.
season as well, not just in terms of the trophy at the end of it, which obviously we'd absolutely all bite hands off for right now, but you know, if Liverpool went into this with massive expectations and pressure, of course, of defending Premier League champions. But the last thing anybody will want is this season just to peter out into nothing.
Especially with how much you've also spent in the summer.
That's a factor, of course.
The fact that, like...
You need something to look forward to, I think. The second half of the season, as I say, the FA Cup's there, but who knows what will happen with that. We'll probably throw it, even though we're mid-table. So you need something to look forward to as fans. And the other thing the Champions League does is that, say we're looking at like other clubs around the continent, we're probably not even thinking about their league form when you just think of, say, Real Madrid, you don't think how good they are via the league. You think about the Champions League form, don't you? So if you're looking around, if Liverpool still manage to do well in the Champions League, say if that's even the semi-finals, then you're still an attractive proposition for players next summer, but you're also maintaining that kind of aura around the club going into next season. Whereas if you start going out in league phases of the Champions League or getting knocked out in the early rounds, then you start to lose a bit of what makes Liverpool special. Yeah,
let's hope they can do that. Let's predict then a starting 11, and I'm not going to lie, I'll put some rotation here. I'm not really sure about you. Obviously, Alisson, if all is well and good, he's back in goal. I'll come to you, Dan. I'm a big fan of Gomez over Konate for this one. I just put some pressure on Konate. Just let him know, hey lad, you better up it if you want to keep your space, because honestly, that lad is doing 3 mistakes a game minimum. He's getting hooked off near every game. I mean, just put some jeopardy there. Make him know, because right now it does seem that his head is elsewhere. So I think you could apply some pressure on Konate and try and get the best out of him again.
Yeah, I think the time has come to send a little bit of a message to Ibu Konate to say that he isn't absolutely undroppable. And that'd be the way I'd be framing it as well. It wouldn't be like a rest and rotation conversation. It would be a case of you're not playing well enough right now to warrant a place in this side. And Joe Gomez, you know, all being well, I know he didn't train last week, therefore was never likely to feature massively on the weekend. But if he is fit, ready and available to start this game, I would absolutely be doing it. Obviously, the right-back conversation muddies the waters a little bit, it's fair to say, when it comes to Gomez. But yeah, you know, if we have an alternative option that we're comfortable with to play a right-back, I would 100% be dropping Ibu Konate, just to try and put a bit of a fire in his belly again and try and make him believe that the place in the shirt just isn't his own, because it looks like maybe it is the Real Madrid stuff, maybe it is the absence of competition, whatever it is, he's completely switched off right now. He's playing, this is the worst consistent run of form I've seen him deliver. Like, he's had bad games along the way, but it's been like 1 in 5, 1 in 6, whatever. This is the opposite. His good games have been 1 in 5, 1 in 6 right now. He looks absolutely all over the place. So, yeah, whatever you can do to get... He is an important player for us, whether we like it or not. Until January, at the very earliest, we're going to need Ibu Konate in form, and at the minute he isn't. So a nice little gentle reminder that he isn't absolutely untouchable in the starting 11 would be welcome for me.
Yeah, what would you do, Sam, then? Because we've also got an absolute massive problem at right back as well. And quite frankly, taking Sobbo out of the midfield when he's the best midfielder is, I'm just not really okay with that right now. Would you play Gomez over Konate? Would you put Gomez in at right back? What would you do at right back? Because you've obviously got Curtis Jones who can slightly do it. You've got Gomez, you've got Sobbo. I don't think Ramsey's available.
No, Ramsey can't. He's not registered
in the
for
squad.
Yeah.
So those are the three options that we've got. And quite frankly, none of them are what we want to pick. But what would you pick if you were Slot?
I think I would go for Gomez playing centre half because I think, or at least coming into the team, because if you can't pick him now, then when there's a matter of squad harmony there in a sense. I think I know Slot said at the weekend that he hadn't trained last week, so he couldn't come into the team. But he's even said in the past, Slot said like, oh, he's not up to match fitness, so he can't play. And you're like, well, he's not up to match fitness because you've not given him a game. And there's been ample opportunity this season when Konate hasn't been playing well to put Gomez in. And I think Gomez has got to be knocking on the door saying, why aren't I playing football? I know at the weekend, obviously, there was maybe a fitness problem there. But I think that's the one kind of criticism last season you could have levelled at Slot as well, going forward for the long term, is that we saw it when Elliott wasn't playing, or Chiesa even, some other players too, that if you're not going to give players an opportunity when they're showing themselves either in training or from the bench, or the players ahead of them aren't playing well, then what kind of message does that send? Does that kind of take an element of competitiveness away from the squad long term, which we know under Klopp was so important? You had players like Milner and Henderson driving standards. So as a matter of squad harmony, I think you've got to play Gomez.
Would you play him centre half then?
Well, this is a difficult question because I actually think at the weekend, the first 30 minutes, first half even, Gomez, Szoboszlai, Jones and Salah looked quite good on the right-hand side. Thought Jones wasn't poor by any stretch of the imagination in the first half. But I think, as you say, Szoboszlai's been so much further clear than everyone else in midfield this season. I think you've got to keep him in midfield. If it weren't for Ramsey not being eligible, I would have probably played Ramsey.
Same.
Just square pegs and square holes.
Yes, just put a right back at right
and
back.
Crystal Palace are no mugs either, who we played against in the League Cup. And we've seen him at the academy a few times. He's not Conor Randall. I think that might be harsh on Conor Randall. If for people that can remember Conor Randall playing. He just came to my head as a right back who wasn't up to scratch. I think Ramsey can do a job for Liverpool and in the future will be a good footballer. But I'd rather play Curtis Jones at right back than Szoboszlai.
Like it's a waste of time to play Calvin Ramsey, but were he to be available, let's live in that hypothetical world momentarily. Whilst he's had a bad couple of years, injury particularly wise, and a couple of loans haven't really worked out. Go further back than that, when Liverpool signed him from Aberdeen, he played a relatively strong amount of senior football at a decent level up in Scotland. Obviously, he isn't a kid, so he has experience. He knows what it takes to play a senior level. Therefore, had he been available, and this carries forward post this game when it comes to back to the Premier League, because then he is a viable option. If the right back situation isn't resolved in the next 48 hours, which is not going to be by Conor Bradley nor Jamie Frimpong, I think moving forward we probably should consider Calvin Ramsey.
And maybe Slot might be looking back at that game going, maybe I should have just done that. Someone said that's Rich saying Gomez isn't match fit. Isak isn't, but he still gets a start and he's been poor so far.
But one of them costs £120 million and one of them's already at the football club. So, but you're right, absolutely right. There's your reason though.
I get the point. So we're going with Curtis at right back, Gomez, Verge. Left back, are you putting Robbo back in or are you keeping Kirkaz?
I'm playing Andy Robertson if he can start both games for me this week, i.e. this and then West Ham.
I'm in the same boat. I think he's proven he's better than Kirkaz at the moment, but West Ham's at them just about the more important game at the moment. If it was if this was like the 6th Champions League game and we needed the points, I'd be putting PSV ahead of West Ham. But at the moment, we can probably just about afford to drop points in this one and still get through. So I'd be playing, as you say, if Robertson can play this game and West Ham, Robertson, but if not, Kirkaz.
My preference is just Andy Robertson to play at the minute. Therefore, providing he's available for not just those two, but I might be even extending it a little
Played
bit further.
a lot of football in the last month.
He has. Obviously, he gets a day off last week, post coming back from the break, and then only gets however many minutes he got at the weekend. And I know he was at the scene of a crime for one of the goals, yes, granted. But I still believe
piece, wasn't it,
we're a better proposition in my mind right now, still. Just for a little bit, maybe, who knows, with Andy Robertson in the side.
Midfield, then, you've got, if you've got Jones at right back, is it just McEgrav and Sobbo?
Well, who else is there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
May I suggest?
Oh.
May I suggest?
You can suggest.
You may.
Wataru, no. Is there any appetite to see that from anyone?
Again, I think it's an issue of run of games. I think Endo's better when he's had a few games. I think the same for Gomez, which is obviously a problem at the minute because they haven't got that run of games. But I think Endo in the League Cup, he's just not looked quite sharp enough, which he could have. I think under Klopp he was. I really rated him, but if he doesn't have that run of games, then he's not. Especially in holding midfield where you need to be able to move the ball on quickly and have your wits about you and can't lose the ball there. I just think Gravenberch needs to play.
Okay.
For me, I reckon Endo would be more suited to West Ham, which is absolutely mad because Liverpool have not been physical enough. And actually, I expect Liverpool to have a lot of the ball against PSV. West Ham, I've got no idea what to actually expect from that game because I reckon Liverpool could get bullied.
Yeah, you might have to try and match him a little bit more.
Exactly, and therefore that's the only reason I'd think Endo. I'm not saying play him in either of these games, but what I'm saying is when I think Liverpool are going to have a lot of the ball, I'm not sure whether they'll do anything good with it.
You'd much rather Gravenberch on the ball.
Yeah, he's like
of course, if the horses for courses thing, you probably like. I'm more thinking, do any of these midfielders need a rest? Do we need a little bit of rotation there? Because if we played all four of them Saturday, we're going to play all four of them again.
The other thing to remember now is that the midweek games aren't League Cup games now. Next week it's a Premier League game against Sunderland, so it's not like you can go rotating a full 11 like you did in the League Cup.
The only thing you can say is Calvin Ramsey potentially comes into it at the weekend, which means one of them then gets a break.
Yeah, possibly. If that's in the thinking, then I'm cool with that. But if not,
it's probably not. Let's be honest.
Exactly. If you go in all four exclusively until one of the right backs is back, like at some point something's got to give, and this might be an opportunity to give Endo minutes because not only in terms of resting somebody, but if we're looking at the next, because it was 7 games in 22 days, so it's now 6 games in 19 days or whatever it might be right there. We might need Endo.
Yeah,
and do you want Endo needing to be needed in terms of like all of a sudden we're like, oh my god, what do we do? Wataru Endo's there, or do you want to sort of cleverly get him some minutes at some point? This might be an opportunity to do it. Likelihood is it will just be the 3 that we said right at the start. Yeah. But if we desperately need Wataru Endo at some point, coming out of the cold doesn't feel.
You've sold me on giving him at least half an hour now.
Yeah, there you go. He's going to get half an hour.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'm past the point again. Forwards then. Gakpo. I've got another little stat for you. I'll make you try and guess how many goals. Gakpo made 159 appearances for PSV in all competitions. How many goals did he score in that time before he joined Liverpool in January 2023? I'll let you guess in the comments as well. Whilst that happens, I'm going to name the forwards who can play in this game. We've got Gakpo available, Salah, Ekitike, Isak, and there's obviously also Federico Chiesa, but truthfully, do I even think he's an option? Because, well, I think Slot will choose him. No, absolutely not. But they're the players that we've got to choose from. Before we get to their front 3, how many goals are we guessing?
How many games are 159?
159.
48.
48.
49.
It was 55. Close. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Don't mind it.
Not too shabby, Alonso. Anyway, your forward 3 then. What are you going with?
Chiesa.
Oh, yes. Where, though?
From the left.
Okay.
Chiesa from the left. Salah from the right. Don't think that changes. And Hugo Ekitike.
Oh, God.
I'd be going Ekitike on the left. Isak and Salah.
I like that. For my 2 pence worth, I'd probably go Ekitike, Isak and Chiesa. I'm done with this. Just start rotating them all a little bit. Give Salah a little rest. I actually don't think he was too bad in the 30 minutes on the weekend. But my point is, if you're going to play him every single game, the lad's going to also run out of energy at some point. I don't think he can play every single game.
Can I suggest a counter to that?
Yeah.
He goes away anyway in like 4 weeks, whatever it is.
It's true.
He's playing football then too.
He's still playing football.
Not for us.
Yeah.
Like,
Still getting tired.
But
we might need to get the most out of him.
Are you not like I see loads from him that makes me want to pick him game in, game out.
No.
I actually think we've changed.
I think he's been better in the last few games.
I do,
actually.
but I think we've changed all of a sudden. Everything was getting played through Ekitike and stuff, and I was like, this is the future. And all of a sudden, it's back out to the wide lads and Salah, and I'm like, he's going in like 3 weeks, so that's lovely. But we can't get our strikers into a single game of football at the moment.
Well,
and when he goes, we're going to need someone else to start playing.
This is why there's a shout to do what we did at Frankfurt and with 2 strikers up front. So it's probably more difficult to do that at home when you've got all the ball. But, I mean, I wrote about it on Sunday. Isak had 14 touches in, 68 minutes or something at the weekend. That's not even Isak's fault.
No.
So I think something's got to change to get him in the game. The other thing Slott's done is almost make a little bit of a rod for his own back and saying that Isak played on Saturday for fitness. Well, he's got to play again in that case.
Otherwise, we've undone the work.
Exactly,
he's done
it's kind of a bit pointless. The only issue with that is that I think last time he did play 2 games in a row with the 3-day gap, he got injured.
The Frankfurt.
So,
and also, if you're Ekitike, you're thinking, that's all well and good.
He's better than him,
I've actually played better. I went on international duty and I looked sharp. I got a goal. Like, if we're talking about who's most informed, who's sharper, who's going to, at the moment, look more likely to get you a winning goal, it is Ekitike. So Ekitike must be sat there going, I've got no idea what I'm doing.
That's why he comes in over Gakpo for me on the left.
Yeah, but then, yes, you're getting him back into the 11, which will be a positive for him. But then out of position in order to accommodate a lad that's not fit and not playing very well.
True.
Like, in terms of your squad harmony, man management point, I think you need to get Ekitike playing, because otherwise you are running the risk of being like, I know you were really good for a few weeks, mate, but this lad's we spent all this money on, we've got to get him playing at some point. Like, Ekitike won't buy any of that. Like, he won't listen. That'll be in one ear.
And also, I'm not going to lie, I don't think the fans will start. If we still keep losing and you're not playing our most informed striker.
And he's invisible. To Sam's point, like 14 touches, whilst it is a little bit in terms of how the team played around him.
It's a bit like that with Ekitike at the moment, and that's not his fault.
I think Ekitike is a bit more combative and gets more involved.
I agree.
He's looking for work, Ekitike. I agree. I think we saw that on Saturday.
I still think we're struggling to get him in the game, and that's on us. That's on Ekitike. I want Ekitike to start games of football. I think Liverpool have just gone back to feeding the wingers, and it's like we're not playing through the striker anymore.
No, there was a moment on the weekend, and I'm pretty sure it's Curtis Jones. It might have been like a triangle with Szoboszlai and Salah at one point. It'd been like a nice little 1-2 move, whatever it'd been. And Curtis Jones suddenly found himself in space, and I think he should have sort of carried it forward himself, and maybe there were central options, but instead he tried like just an impossible, never on the cards reverse ball to Salah. To your point about the desperation of trying to give it to Salah all the time, does feel like it's crept back in recent weeks, where in reality we probably need to start feeding, whether it be Isak or Ekitike. But Isak, he's an elite level striker, let's have it right.
Yeah.
He does go looking for work, and he will drop deeper. I don't think it's where he's most comfortable. He can do it. He drifts over to the left. We've seen him in Newcastle, but he comes alive in around the penalty area. Yeah. Whereas Ekitike, I think, is more of an all-round forward who will drift and will come and get the ball off you. So it's an interesting one. But right now, if you're asking me who's the better option as a 9, it's just Hugo Ekitike, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I agree. So what are we going with then? Because there was no compromise here.
Well, you both want Ekitike on the left, right?
I do.
I want him up front, but I think you've got to play Isak after playing him in.
I agree with the fitness thing. He looks like an absolute tool if he then drops him for this game of football.
This is why it would have made more sense to play Isak on Wednesday and then against West Ham, because then you're playing Ekitike first off, and then you're giving Isak the 60 minutes in the Champions League, where perhaps the 3 points are just about less essential right now. And you're probably going to have more of the ball. And also off the back of not playing for Sweden, I think everyone would have understood Isak not starting that game. You know what I mean? I think it's weird because Arne Slot on Friday in his press conference basically said they would have rather Isak featured more for Sweden, which to me implied that we're not likely to see him. And then he started him.
And I was a bit like, what? I don't understand what we're doing. Are we almost like foregoing points and results and performances just to get this lad?
There is the one other thing, which I suppose we're probably not looking at as much, as the opposition. Who suits the opposition more? Maybe Arne Slot just thought Isak suits playing against Forest more. I mean, it's unlikely, but...
let me tell you, I didn't see it.
It looked very unlikely to me.
But there are more factors than just fitness. But yeah, I'd agree. I think it was a strange decision to play Isak against Forest.
Okay, so we're going with Ekitike.
Let's do it, yeah. Ekitike, Isak, Salah, why not?
Salah, okay.
Let's do it.
It sounds interesting, that's for sure. I'm going to ask you for your score predictions and your goal scorers before you get in the comments as well, guys. I'll read yours out. Whilst you all have a little think, get it in the comment section. I'm going to take a look at some of the other Champions League games, because why not? There is one interesting game tonight, and that is Chelsea v Barcelona. There's also Marseille v Newcastle, which can be a little bit feisty. I'm not really sure what to expect from Marseille on the pitch.
In Marseille?
Yes, but from what I've heard about Marseille, it'll be tasty. Man City play Leverkusen, Dortmund, Villarreal, Bodo Glimt, Juventus, Jesus Christ, Galatasaray, Union Saint-Gilloise, Napoli, Karabag, Ajax, Benfica is your early kickoff, which isn't too bad. Slavia Prague v Athletic Club, Paphos v Monaco, Copenhagen, Karat, that is probably the game to avoid out of all. Olympiacos Real Madrid is tomorrow as well. Sporting v Club Bruges, Frankfurt, Atalanta. And now we get into the interesting games of tomorrow. If Liverpool could just not be played at the same time as the best games every weekend, I'd really quite enjoy it a little bit more. We obviously host PSV. Atletico Madrid host Inter Milan. Sounds tasty.
I don't know,
Arsenal...
I wouldn't like to watch that game.
You know what?
Atletico are just not the team to watch, to be honest.
But they're not as defensive as you all think anymore.
They've let the handbrake off a bit.
And Inter Milan are 4
He's still got hold of it.
Yeah. Anyway, Arsenal v Bayern. Honestly, that is probably a game I won't watch because Liverpool are playing, but also I'd hate to see Arsenal too.
Well, they might. Unfortunately, they might. But Bayern beat them. Was it like 10-2 on aggregate a few years ago? I'm speaking to two children here. Well, they're both very young.
Yeah, no, I do remember this now.
I don't think that'll happen this time around.
No.
Arsenal conceded 10 goals a season, let alone across 2
Bayern knocked
games.
them out last year, did they not?
Yes.
And that was close, a close game of football. I reckon Arsenal might have them. I really do. PSG v Spurs as well. You can call it a big game, but right now, who knows what Spurs are going to do. But that is the Super Cup. Is it the Super Cup?
Yes.
Yeah, they play it and PSG won on pen.
Yeah, Spurs were winning that game. I want to say.
Yes, with like 2 minutes to go, actually.
And then they come back later on, I seem to recall that. Yeah.
Something happened. I know PSG won, that's all I can give you. Anyway, let's get to some people's score predictions in the chat. We've got a 4-2. We've got a 1-1. I could do without that, to be honest. I really could. What a 2-1 loss. Stunning. Someone said send Salah to AFCON early. Not a score prediction, but I found it quite funny. Anyway, 1-0 defeat, then a 2-0 defeat at West Ham. Stunning. I'm really enjoying the positivity here, guys.
That'll be that one.
That is wonderful. We've got a 4-1 win. This is getting a little better. 2-0 win. So now I'm going to come to use Dan. Give me some positivity, please.
I want to say Liverpool win 3-2. I don't see, again, for all the reasons we've kind of outlined, I think PSV will come with belief. Yeah, we're there to be got at, and understandably so. All you got to do is watch us for half an hour, and I think they will run with that a little bit and try and get at us. I don't think we're going to have enough to keep the back door shut. So I see goals in this one. I hope I'm wrong. I'd much rather a comfortable, polished 2-0 win. Yeah. I think 3-2. And in terms of goal scorers, because we named them all in the front line, I'm going to go for each of them individually.
I like that.
Scoring,
I do like that. Before we get to yours, Sam, someone's just said, can we send Maka to AFCON too?
Come on now. Come on. No need.
Oh, it's a little funny. 3-1 says Bud Lightyear. I do enjoy that. 2-1. Someone said a draw against PSV. I really could do without it, guys. Someone said PSV dominating Eredivisie and beat Napoli 6-2. We might be in trouble. Well, we'll soon see, won't we? Sam, what are you going with?
I can't see us not conceding. It's in my head, genuinely, I say it's a 2-1 defeat, but I'm gonna go with a 4-1 Liverpool win.
That's quite a drastic change. It
So
really is.
which one of those predictions you want depends on your mood.
I mean, I assume we all want Liverpool to win.
We all
I
want
suppose there
Liverpool
might
to
be a
win.
few staunch slot outers, if I can
Maybe.
coin that phrase.
Are there many, just on an aside note, are there many people, do you think, maybe not go in the game, but in the general Liverpool sphere that are that far gone yet?
Oh, there's a few, I would say. I've seen a few in this space and sphere that and fine, we've spoken
And if the
about it.
tide's changing inside the ground.
Yeah. There's a good chance on socials and across the world there's a few people in that boat,
I'd like to see the ground, and I'm sure they will, but try and get behind the team, because we saw what they did against
I mean, they
Madrid.
most definitely will do that because...
I
what
really
we do.
enjoyed
Yes.
that Villa and Madrid, where it felt like we were a bit more unified again. It's difficult when the team just aren't at it, but we can do our bit, and then after the game you complain all you want, but while the game's on, let's just go.
Well, but that did happen during the game, to be fair. Everyone was a bit like, oh, God. But, I mean, Slot came round, and Slot does clap us, but he was more animated, clapping us like, I'm so sorry you had to watch that. And the people who were still in the ground, there was no boos, nothing like that happened. It was just, you know...
Makes me happy, though.
It was a somber clap. It was...
Yeah, the relationship's very strained right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any player getting booed unless it's for a lack of commitment.
Well, that is
Which
But that is
the
what's
point I was
happening.
going to make.
Yeah.
Because I think getting beaten off the park by a team of quality, Man City did that to us a few weeks ago, didn't they? Like, they were just better than us. Like, you can almost accept that. But what's really hard to swallow is the not tracking runners. It's the jumping out of 50-50s. It's the not winning your battle. It's the fundamentals. It's the non-negotiables of what it takes to compete in a game of football. And I think, I hate saying this because these are professional footballers, most of whom I adore, but that lack of that sort of stuff has just started to creep in, and I think it was evident second half. So that's when Anfield, and that's when fans across the world are within their rights to start questioning everything, in my opinion.
Yeah. We've got a 3-1, a 1-1 just to prove Slot isn't allergic to draws. I mean, it's a good point, actually. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Liverpool. I'm going to go with Ekatike 2, Isak 1. That is where I am on that one. I'm okay with that.
Didn't name his goal scorers, by the way.
Oh, who's your goal scorers? You've got 4 of them, apparently. Yeah.
Ekatike, hat-trick.
Oh.
Get out of jail, can't that? You've got to name one more now,
And Van Dijk, corner.
Okay, yeah. I'm fine with that. Thanks so much for joining us. Liverpool, please, for the love of God, win a game of football. Make it a little bit... In fact, win 2 games of football. But win the first one tomorrow, please, because I am running out of energy doing these shows when you're crap. Thanks so much for joining. Have a lovely rest of your day. Let's hope the Reds pick up 3 points and it's all a little bit more positive come Thursday morning. See you then.